Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call, kicking off a fresh new week. And it's an important one with lots of news flow as we come into this weekend, but of course also tracking whether after 2 weeks of relative consolidation for larger indices, whether we make a bit of a move or not. We're coming to you from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleagues Surabhi and Nigel. Guys, hi, morning.
Hi, morning Prashant. Morning Nigel. Morning to all our viewers. I have a confession to make. Only 4 hours of sleep. But it was so worth it because of that game last night. Yeah. Mumbai Indians out. But, and I've missed a lot of games because of one reason or the other. I'm not the biggest cricket buff. But just luck, pure luck to watch Shreyas Iyer in top form. What a sublime innings. Beautiful, beautiful batting.
Well, that's right. That innings spells very, very good times for Indian cricket on the whole, with that young man, shouldering the captaincy and also going ahead and playing a knock like that. But I'll tell you what, I'm a little heartbroken today. I would have liked Mumbai Indians to come out on top. But that's
still bleeding blue, Nigel.
That's the way the game goes. So kudos to Shreyas Iyer. Our team, maybe better luck next time. They put in a good fight. Maybe a catch or two was dropped at the wrong time, but so be it.
Two new teams in the final for the first time.
Indeed. Who are you going with?
It's going to be a good one. I'll watch this game for sure from start to end.
Prashant, you want to choose a winner between the two?
No, I was watching chess, guys.
You guys
brilliant. See the Gukesh essentially taking out Magnus.
Wow.
6 rounds.
Yeah.
And in Norway, outstanding stuff. And I think we've got the... people have been talking about this for some time now, that who's the successor to Vishwanathan Anand. Mm-hmm. I think he's very, very young, but I think Gukesh is the answer.
It's not just the win. It's the manner in which he reacted post the win as well. Just calm, let it soak in. And we saw what the opponent did. I mean, that's the champion in there. But kudos. Indian chess is well moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. And
now markets, are they moving in the right direction?
We'll see. But, let's just take it from the top, right, in terms of what you need to know as we begin another new session. So essentially you had, and this is a theme which we've kind of highlighted now for 2 weeks now, which is that maybe we've seen the peak of good news flow on tariffs. I mean, we've seen the peak, and maybe from here there's going to be a little deterioration. And the last 2 weeks have proven that indeed is the case. Why do I say that? So by the end of last week, news on tariffs, and the graphics will start to come up, has taken a decisively negative turn. Trump accused China of violating the recent Geneva deal, which is, of course, the handshake deal which happened. And it was not a deal. It was basically an agreement to start to talk. China issued a denial that no such thing. Trump then said, I'm sure that I'll speak to President Xi, Chinese President Xi, and hopefully we'll work things out. So this all happened, Friday post-market hours. And let's move this along. Yeah, there you go. I'm sure I'll speak to President Xi and hopefully we'll work things out. Then after that, Trump announced a doubling of tariffs on steel and aluminum to 50%. So this is, again, post-market hours on Friday. Over the weekend, what has happened? EU has threatened countermeasures. China said it would take measures as well. So both these came through, and we'll see what happens. So from here, as we go into the next couple of days, that phone call which Trump has said he's going to have with President Xi was going to be something to track, and details out of it. And of course, if there are before that countermeasures from both EU and China, it'll basically take the tension on tariffs, etc., up a few notches. Markets took the bad news on Friday. By the way, the S&P was down 1% at the lowest point, and then it recovered. So, essentially, we kind of took the bad tariff news flow in its stride. The S&P ended flat. The Nasdaq didn't have very much on it as well. So is the resilience on markets underscoring the power of taco thinking? What is taco thinking? I mean, essentially, I mean, I don't want to say it. That question was posed to the president, and it stands for, it was coined, Trump always chickens out, right? I mean, he'll sort of put something big out and then he'll kind of always walk back. Is that the reason why the markets are thinking, well, this too shall pass? It's possible, and why not? Now, basically that Trump will not follow through on any of his aggressive tariff policies. The S&P 500 And that's the news flow bit of it, right? The S&P 500 closed out May. It was the best May since 1990, with the S&P gaining over 6%. The 10-year yield on Friday was down 2 basis points, nothing very much, 4.4%. The dollar index was unchanged at 99.3. With regards to oil, there is a bit of a move this morning. So OPEC Plus has agreed to another 400,000 barrels per day supply increase. This is in line with expectations. Oil prices, the last I checked, they're on your screen, 2.5% higher after ending flat on Friday, even slightly lower on Friday. As we go forward, U.S. fiscal risks should be in focus. The U.S. Senate will resume discussions about, to pass the Trump's big, beautiful bill. Many are saying, it will not go through in this in the current form. There will be changes made which will bring down the size of what the bill plans to spend, etc. We'll see. Hopefully it will be that. But in any case, the fiscal risk and what's happening to the long end of the bond curve in the US, I think, comes back into focus. Later this week, towards the end of this week, RBI will meet. They're expected to cut rates by 25 basis points. Of course, on Friday, we also had the GDP numbers, which we will talk more in a bit from now, and the numbers were good. Now, U.S. jobs data is the other thing. That's again on Friday. ISM services and global PMI should also be in focus as we go into the next 4 odd trading sessions or so. Just to tie in the levels here, the Nifty actually it held on last week. The Nifty Bank, actually 2 weeks now, the larger indices have consolidated. Broader markets have continued to do very well. Immediate support right now stands at 24,692, which is the 20-day moving average. Very near term, 60 points away basically from where we left off on Friday. And then the next support is 24,462. On the way up, we need a break, and we've been sort of pulling this level for about 6 days now, 25,116, to confirm that the market is beginning a new impulse higher. For the Nifty Bank, we saw follow-up gains on Friday. The resistance is at 55,695 to 55,875, and support stands at recent lows of 55,096. So that's the picture as far as the broader markets are concerned. The headline indices go as well. GIFT Nifty will give you a quick sense of how we are starting. Once again, like we've seen for many days now, neither here nor there. Maybe we pick a trend as we start trading. 25 points lower on the GIFT Nifty. Surabhi.
Okay, well, GIFT Nifty down 25 points, but Asia is down a lot more. It's a slam dunk across Asian markets as markets realize that this tariff issue is not going away anytime soon. So markets reacting to the fact that steel and aluminium tariffs are all set to be doubled from the 4th of June. And you can see the sharp knock. The Japanese market led the morning lower. It was down about 1.2%. Now Japan's down about 1.5%. And that cut on the Hang Seng is quite bad. Let's just pull that up. 2.5% lower on the Hang Seng. The mainland Chinese market is shut today for the Dragon Boat Festival. So you're not getting rates out of mainland China, but Hang Seng is a good indicator. A lot of other developments as well. There was this Wall Street Journal article that said that Trump will make use of the Trade Act of 1974. This is a piece that we put out last week itself, the options before him. And it seems like he's willing to explore everything on the table. There's that section 122, which allows a baseline tariff of up to 15% to be set for 150 days. And Wall Street Journal is saying that this is definitely, definitely being considered, whether he does it or not, but it's definitely one of the top considerations. Not just that, we had the agencies over the weekend also report, there was a Bloomberg report suggesting that US will look at much wider sanctions in terms of China tech companies. That's another reason the Hang Seng is down big time today. Let's see what more is coming in terms of restrictions on Chinese tech majors. Then we had the White House National Economic Council Director, Kevin Hesset, saying that Trump and Xi could talk as soon as this week. And that's where the hope is, that they'll speak and they'll, break this logjam. Because after Geneva, nothing has progressed and the chatter has been on the negative side. Hesset says, my expectation is that both sides have expressed a willingness to talk and they'll definitely be discussing trade. Let's see. Coming to our market, so we're gearing up for what promises to be a weak start. Let's see if we indeed get, an opening leg down. Now, the Nifty has been consolidating for 12 straight sessions. Right now, we're about 50 basis points higher than the 20-day moving average, which would be perhaps the first challenge on the lower side today. Let's see how this goes. The critical question is whether this trading range of the market, which is 24,450 on the downside and 25,100 on the upside, this broad 500, 550-point trading band, will it break this week or not? Let's see. Let's talk about flows then. Flows are not a problem at all for this market. Whether it's FPIs or DIs, the money's been coming in. On Friday, however, we had a big net sell number. And there's a lot of block deal action as well. So you have to keep that in mind. 6,500 crores of selling by FPIs, domestic institutions ended up buying over 9,000 crores. But overall, FPI buying in May is still looking very good. It's the best we've seen so far this calendar year at close to 20,000 crore rupees. So let's watch for this. By the way, the flows action in the month of May, 50,000 crores of sales have happened. OFS, PE selling, promoters selling. That's skewing the DI and FII number. Coming to the GDP numbers, that's a pleasant surprise. So macros are in our favor. Fourth quarter GDP beating estimates at 7.4%. It's also a nice pickup from the third quarter. Third quarter, we were at 6.4%. Of course, lower than last year. And the market will like the fact that gross fixed capital formation has moved along very nicely. It's a big, large jump, 9.4%. On gross fixed capital formation, much higher than last year, higher than the previous quarter as well. Construction growth is looking good at close to 11%. Manufacture is still limping along. It's improved sequentially, but it's still way off from last year's levels. Manufacturing growth of about, just about touching 4.8%. So that's the GDP number. That's the positive. Auto sales are also, there's more positive than negative because the companies that have done well in the last 1 year, they continue to do very well. M&M, TVS Motors. M&M, the PV sales are up 21%. TVS Motors, total sales up 17%. Tata Motors, that's some red. The challenges continue. Sales are down. CVs, PVs, everything's down for Tata Motors. We'll talk about this. And aside of it, last of the earnings season action. So Nykaa is going to be in focus. Nyka's done well. Margins are up almost 100 basis points. Watch for this stock. Apollo Hospitals, we'll talk to the management today as well. Another very steady quarter in line with estimates for Apollo Hospitals. Reddy's is interesting. Semaglutide. There's all talk about these GLP-1 drugs. And now there's a challenge that's come in. In fact, the Delhi High Court has barred Dr. Reddy's from selling semaglutide here in India because the innovator company has taken Reddy's and the partner to court. Watch for this stock as well. So plenty to keep us excited. Macros, micros, stocks, levels. So much going on.
Well, that's right. On the domestic front, things are looking good. And on Friday, there was an MSCI rejig that took place. That explains why they were selling. Maybe the number's a little bigger than what the MSCI rejig was hoping for. But that's one point to put on the table as well. However, domestically, things are looking good. If you look at the GST collections at around 2 lakh crore, you like that. You look at the GDP print, you like that as well. In terms of earnings in the past quarter, I was looking at what Motilal Oswal was estimating and what they were delivered. Well, that as well was fairly good. So the domestic piece actually is looking quite good. And we're bracing for an RBI rate cut. So put all those factors together on the domestic front, actually, things are looking up. The problem is on the globe because there's uncertainty on Trump's tariffs. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he goes the MAGA way, that's making America great again, or he taco, that is whether he chickens out. And the street will be hoping to see whether or not there is some negotiations out there. But this, this Trump trade tariff problem, that continues to plague the markets a little bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And geopolitical fears as well are back on the table with what we're looking at with regard to Russia as well as Ukraine. For the time being, you have Brent crude prices that are pretty much well behaved, as well as the dollar index is pretty much, in our favor as well. So for the time being, both those two indicators, they're in favor of an emerging market like India. So as I said, domestic piece looking good. The global cues a little bit jittery. One factor that's making me not worry too much on the first day of a new series is that the India VIX cooled off. Yes, we ended lower in Friday's trading session, but when the VIX cools off, that's one comforting sign because otherwise the VIX had moved up a little bit. In today's trading session, we'll keep an eye out on that as well. Moving to what the FIs did, well, they added shorts yet again. They added close to 8,500 short contracts, while the clients, they're doing the opposite. So they added close to 2 longs for every 1 short position. So if you look at the setup as of now, the FI net short positions, well, they have moved to around 80,000 contracts. On the flip side, the clients, they're net long at close to around 60,000 contracts. This is normally an ideal scenario for the markets to move up. But we need some good news. For the time being, the markets are devoid of that good news. So once that good news comes, maybe, in fact, we'll be able to break past that range. The PCR holding at around 0.7, that's towards the lower end of the range because you've seen call writing come back. 24,800 call, 24,900 call. Both of them were fairly active even in Friday's trading session. The good point is the 24,800 put as well continues to see some writing. So quick range out there. Going by the options data for the day, you don't want the 24,550 odd mark to break on the downside, and the resistance mark at around 25,050. So broad 500-point range. For the time being, the market is lacking that positive trigger. I think we spend some more time in this range.
Okay, we're right in the middle of it. So let's see how this week plays out. Well, let's quickly get you the equity call of the morning. Sanjeev Prasad of Kotak Institutional Equity says the Indian market seems to be stuck between the harsh realities of stiff valuations, domestic growth issues and global macroeconomic headwinds, and the hopes of a recovery in the economy and in earnings. He says the fourth quarter of FY25, the results did not provide much comfort about an imminent recovery. He adds that fourth quarter net profit of the Nifty 50 index increased 3.7% and EBITDA was higher by 9.2%.
Okay, well, let's just quickly run you through what's lined up here over the show, the program, for the next 2.5 hours. So we'll be speaking with Matt Orton of Raymond James Investment on the other side. He's right here in our studios. 8:35, we'll hear from Prakash Diwan for some fundamental stock calls. At 9 o'clock, Sachin Salgaonkar of BofA Securities is joining us from the sidelines of the BofA 2025 India Conference on trends in the telecom space. 9:20, Pankaj Tibriwal of Ikagai Asset Managers joins us on markets. 9:30, TVS Motors speaks about the company's growth trajectory in EV manufacturing. Sunita Reddy of Apollo Hospitals will be with us to talk about the numbers which came through. 9:50 a.m. we'll have the management of Mahindra Automotive to talk about the auto sales for the month of May and their outlook going forward. It's the economy. Latha in conversation with CNBC TV 18's Citizens Monetary Policy Committee to discuss what they expect from the RBI later this week. That's the panel.
A lot of stock-specific action to track. Let's run you through our top 10 segment. We're looking at Apollo Hospitals, Vodafone, Nykaa, IRB Infra, and Mazagon Dock. All of them will be reacting to positive news flow. On the flip side, we have Hindalco, Tata Steel, Inox Wind, Dr. Reddy's, and OneSource Specialty Pharma that will be reacting to negative news flow. Let's take that break, come back, get into further detail on all of these names.